97.3. Come on. Let's go.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue.
Flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let's see, relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. What we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, Traffic Avenue, oh yeah.
The city is alive on 97.3.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Omar Rusanda Amadou, and tonight I'm here with
Akosia Oche.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes, Trade and Industry Minister Katie Hammond to know his fate on the contempt case brought against him in October. Meanwhile, James Jachikwuesin, the man who has the minister in court, may have to do his own cross-examination after the court said his lawyer's absence will not stop the case from proceeding. Also coming up, the family of a 14-year-old British national who allegedly died under mysterious circumstances at the St. Peter's Mission School at Ogbojo in Accra is calling for a thorough police investigation into the matter after the outcome of the autopsy. This is Eyewitness News. We're coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. There's also business later in some 50 minutes from now.
Yes, independent power producers consider shutting down their power plants over the government's failure to settle 2.5 billion cedis debt owed them.
That's in 50 minutes from the business desk of Citi FM and Citi TV. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations. We are also on citynewsroom.com. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. If you want to know which affiliate stations you can listen to us as you move out of Accra, if you're going to the Northeast region, we are in Waliwali on Eagle 94.1 FM. We are in the Upper West region on Westlink 88.1 FM in Laura. We are in Upper East on WED 88.3 FM in Zuarungu. We are in Northern region on Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi. We are in the Volta region on Akpini 96.7 FM in Kwando and Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohwe. In the Ashanti region, we are on Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In Ahafo region, we are on Hammers 106.5 FM in Goso. In Bono region, on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. If you go to the Western region, we are on Premier 100.5 FM, Beach 105.5 FM, and Sky Power 93.5 FM. All of them based in Takoradi. You can join the discussion by sending your messages on WhatsApp 0549 986 996 0549 986 996. Alternatively, you can go on Twitter and drop a message there. The WhatsApp number is the Twitter number is the Twitter handle is at Umaru Sanda. You can also tweet at Citi973, and the world will hear what you think. This is Eyewitness News coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Let's settle for details of our stories now. And we start from the courts. Now, the issue has to do with a contempt case that we currently are seeing in the courts. It's a contempt case that has been brought by the Member of Parliament for Asin North, James Jachikwesin, against the Member of Parliament for Dansi Asokwa, Member of Parliament, who is Minister also for Trade and Industry, Katie Hammond. We'll be hearing more on this particular story in a bit. Meanwhile, other things have been happening in the court. It has to do with James Jachikwesin, and the court has been making some statements in relation to the work of James Jachikwesin and whether or not if his lawyer is absent, he would have to do his own cross-examination. Akusia has that story for us. Akusia, just share with us what the court has been saying.
The judge presiding over the James Jachikwesin trial has warned that she will make the Asin North MP continue and end the cross-examination of prosecution's first witness, Richard Tichiments, on Monday if his lawyers are not present. This follows the court's decision to refuse a request by lawyers of the accused to adjourn the case to October or November. On Friday, lawyers of the accused were expected to conclude cross-examination of the prosecution's first witness. However, his lawyers were not present, as the lawyer on record, Justin Teriwaya, wrote to the court notifying the judge of a 3-day medical excuse given to him by his doctor. Based on that, he requested for the case for Friday be adjourned, but added in the letter that the case be adjourned to a period after the legal break, which will end in the first week of October. He explained that his client, Jachikwesin, would not be available during a legal break as he will be out of the jurisdiction for medical attention. He also indicated that Chachutikata will not be available within the same period. Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuyaibwa supported the request for adjournment on Friday, but opposed the request for the return date to be scheduled after the legal break. He prayed the court to rather adjourn the case to Monday, July 31. But the judge, Justice Mary Mami Ikwe Yanzo, adjourned the case to Monday, July 31, with a caution that a cross-examination of prosecution witnesses, one, will be continued by the Asin North MP if his lawyers are not available on Monday, July 31.
Let's remain in the courts, and the High Court has scheduled October 19 to deliver its ruling on the contempt case involving Katie Hammond, the Member of Parliament for Dansi Asokwa. This case was filed by the lawyers of James Jachikwesin, the Member of Parliament for Asin North, in response to comments made by Katie Hammond during a media interview, which he considered contemptuous. During the interview, the Trade Minister allegedly likened James Jachikwesin's case to that of Adamu Dramani Sakandi, and insinuated that the Asin North MP would face a similar fate. James Jachikwesin's team had hoped to proceed with the case on Friday, but it was adjourned. That's today. The court has instructed both parties to submit their written arguments by August 31. Director of Legal Affairs of the NDC, Abraham Maliba, who represented James Jachikwesin, addressed the press after proceedings.
You are aware that there has been a contempt application filed against Katie Hammond. And so today was the day stated for the matter to be heard. And so when we came to court, don't forget that we had already come to court on this matter. And the court ordered that if we have to file any process, we need to do that before 25th of July. And so we filed our supplementary affidavit on the 25th of July. Today we are back in court, and the court has stated that we should file written addresses. He doesn't want oral submissions. We should file our written addresses on the 31st of August, but return to court on the 19th of October for the ruling. The minister made comments. He made comments. And those are the comments that we have brought to court. Those comments we think affect the trial of James Gyekye.
So that's a member of the head of the Legal Affairs Committee of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Abraham Amaliba. Now, it has to do with the Dansi Asukwa Member of Parliament, who is also Minister for Trade and Industry. We actually have him on the line now. Honorable Katie Hammond or Honorable Kobna Tahir Hammond, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
That's fine. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. In journalism school, I was taught that the repetition of a defamatory comment constitutes fresh defamation, but you are a lawyer, so I don't need to quote that to you, except to say that we wanted to have a clarification. We remember that during the election petition of 2012, some of the persons were told to go and atone for their sins by going on radio and withdrawing the statements they made and apologizing. Others already did that before appearing and they were forgiven. What is your case in court? Do you feel you were misquoted or you agree with what you said as being contemptuous and you wish to apologize? Which is your position?
Well, I don't recall those you're talking about. But if you made a comment and you clearly with some legal advice or maybe after rational thinking, you believe that your language was offensive to the essence of the court, we quickly apologize, withdraw and apologize. But that's not what I did. I had the voice of, you said one of the lawyers.
Abraham Amaliba.
And he said it's one of the NDC lawyers. If you come to NDC, KC Hammond or NDC MPP, I am told that it was the chief Christian also who is dragging me to the court, even though I realized that he wasn't the person swearing affidavit to get me there. Rather, a person or a lawyer called Terweja is the person who swears to the poses to an affidavit verifying certain facts. I don't know. These are matters we leave to the court. But yes, mine is completely different, and that is why you realize that I haven't gone there with but I haven't gone there pleading and asking for forgiveness because I'm clear in my mind. I haven't committed any such contemptuous sin. I made a remark. The remark was in the context of precedence. You see, I'm a lawyer. Yes, I am. Been qualified for a very long time. I do understand the concept of contempt of court. So I made a statement in the context of precedence about decisions that have been handed down by the Supreme Court. And I made a reference to a case which it is not well done, rather notorious in the country. So I particularly don't understand why anybody would want to take me to court, except for the fact that I am Katie Hammond.
So the way contempt works, based on what my understanding is that if you make a prejudicial comment to a case before the court, you are deemed to have engaged in a contemptuous act, and that could be the reason that Teriwaja or Gyekye Kwesin or Abraham Amaliba, I don't know if it matters who sent the case to court, decided to take the case to court. You do not think that you have said anything that is prejudicial to the trial?
Nothing prejudicial at all.
Even when you say that the guy will be jailed, like Adamu Sakande.
That's not what I say. That's what I will file an affidavit. There's an affidavit in court in which I've made my case. I think there was no reference to it. If there was reference, it hasn't been discussed. But I filed my affidavit. As I explained, you guys can apply for a copy of my affidavit. I've made it pretty clear why I said that the Supreme Court in the case of this same Gyekye I've made it very clear that the case of Gyekye Kwesin is on all fours. In fact, the court was so emphatic that it's on all fours with the case of our friend who died, Adebu Sankeni. It's there in black and white. So I made that comment that the Supreme Court has said that ABCD is on all fours with this. And of course, the consequence I thought would be the same. So my comment, whatever I'm supposed to have said, was the comment was made in the context of that. How does that become prejudicial to the matters in court? So I've gone in, put in my affidavit, and said that I'm not guilty at all. Indeed, you all know that if there's anyone in Ghana who upholds the integrity of the judiciary and been fighting for everybody to respect the integrity of the court, it's Citi Hammond. When it came to other people, including judges who also double as chiefs, making all those outrageous comments about matters in court, I stood up and said that could not be, because that's actually contemptuous. I know that. So I won't be the same person to fall into the trap of making comments that in the end would have the result of embarrassing the court or prejudicing any matter that is sub judice.
The last time, or the most recent time we saw something around contempt was when Dr. Michael Kpesa-White had to appear before the Supreme Court. He apologized and he was forgiven. You are not approaching the court.
Do you remember the what about his name was White, Pastor White?
Pastor White.
The Supreme Court and those are scandalous comments. I couldn't possibly, in my right frame of mind, say anything like that about the judiciary of Ghana. It's nothing like that. It was nothing to do with the court. I said that this is what the person is accused of doing. The Supreme Court has said that a person who previously did a similar thing ended up this way. I see from what is happening, what is going on, that person is trending the same course that the Supreme Court described. Well, how does that become prejudicial to the court? So I made my case to the court. And, today, the suggestion, well, no, it's not really a suggestion. The ruling was that I filed my affidavit. If they have some other things that they want to add, they should. The judge actually, the last time when we appeared, asked them if they have seen my affidavit, whatever is it that they want to say about it. I think they said they wanted to go back and file some further affidavit in response to what I've said. I think today I had been told that the hearing was at 11:30, but apparently it was earlier than that, so my lawyers were there. They did it in my absence. But I told you that the court said that whatever they have, they should now go and put it in the written for call and written submission. Put all of that in your written submission. My lawyers should also put ours in the written submission. And then file, I think, by August or so. And then sometime October 16th or so, leadership, the guys will make a ruling.
Now, the reason I was referencing Kpesa-White was to say, it means you're not going to apologize, but you're going to defend yourself and say you have not done it.
No, that's it, right. You don't just go when you make a comment to the fact that it's a stupid judicial, stupid Supreme Court, for Christ's sake, you deserve to do something better than just apologizing. That's atrocious. But I'm telling you, I haven't done anything as scandalous as that. So, I mean, whoever it was that made that comment, realized with the advice of the lawyers that he has to very badly. He couldn't say that. So quickly went and begged, apologized, and then the court said, okay, if you realize the seriousness of the statement that you made, it's all right. That's fine. So that is the kind of thing you are talking about. I haven't done anything as serious, as bad as that. I mean, this is, you remember the Muntia 3 and all that. We all been around when all this is made the rounds in the country. So we know what we're talking about. But I'm telling you, I haven't done anything that remotely approximate anything. That you know about. I haven't done anything at all. So if I sin, if I got it wrong, I'll be the first person to raise up my hands, thanks to rights. I got it wrong. I apologize. But I'm telling you, I have not done any such thing. I already made a comment in the context of the discussion of what we call it stare decisis. judiciary decides this. It's what we call the precedent. What the court has said is binding on the evidence. The higher court, in this case, Supreme Court, is binding on all lower court. So I made this comment in that context. It's for the court to decide if what I said is wrong. I'm guilty of contempt. That's a different thing altogether. But they wouldn't force me to admit that this is contemptuous of the court. But clearly, far removed from your idea of contempt. At least that's how I see.
Very well. We'll wait to see what happens October 19 and wish you all the best. Now, let me talk about something that is happening at your ministry. In fact, this is our first interview since you went to the Ministry of Trade and Industry. How is the ministry treating you, sir?
Oh, we're good. I mean, you speak with me. I'm in the office now. We're all right.
There's a discussion in Parliament around tax exemptions for one district, one factory. The factories therein, and the fact that there's a delay over it. What seems to be the problem?
I came to meet a pile of. We got. Let me put it this way. We got a flashing government program called One District, One Factory. Government is taking to help private entrepreneurs who are able to set up factories in the districts of the country, throughout the whole country. One of the advantages of the program we put in place is that any company which shows interest in the program will be entitled to some tax exemptions. I came to meet a pile of them on my table. The reason I'm told is that they have not been able to push them through to Parliament to waive the taxes. You know, it's not a simple matter of waiving taxes. It's only Parliament which constitutionally is able to waive those taxes. But I came to realize that quite a few were still outstanding. And the reason why that was the case was because somehow it hasn't gone through the Finance Committee of Parliament, chaired by one of our colleagues, and so the matters haven't come to the plenary for the House to approve. It's been going on for some time, so I myself called the attention of the Speaker to this matter. There is, I think, in our standing on this, there's a provision. When a reference made by the Speaker, it has to be completed. The work on it has to be completed and returned to the plenary. The Speaker informed, the House informed within 3 months. It's been going on for some time now, and it's delaying the project that we undertaken under 1B1. So I invited the Speaker to get the committee to expedite action on the approval of these exemptions.
How is that affecting the general output of the ministry? Because 1D1F is a huge policy promised by the party when it was in opposition, and the government started implementing it since 2017. I believe that this particular challenge would affect the overall performance of your ministry.
Well, we wouldn't say overall. I mean, I'm not happy about it, and so I'm working seriously with the leadership of the House to make sure that we have the approvals in good time. It's not helping us, frankly. So it's not helping us, but I wouldn't say that affecting the generality of whatever we do here. We would have been better off if somehow these approvals have come through earlier. But I'm told that GRA has some other procedures which I think they have adopted to make sure that some of this equipment have been made available through some other system to the manufacturers or the importers. So what is going on was we try hard to make sure that the approvals are given. I am clear that Parliament is rising in the next so many days. I'm sure finance ministry will be able to wheel almost all the rest to the clerk to Parliament to await our return from the recess. I think we'll get them through.
But how many companies are we talking about, though?
Oh, quite a few. The last I was told, about over 50. Over 50 of them have outstanding issues relating to those claims.
And does it mean that they have not been constructed at all, or they are ready to operate, but they need that?
Some of them have actually paid to facilitate the clearance of their goods. Some of them have had to pay some money, and a few other things. So, it's not a happy situation. We shouldn't have come to this when the government is committed to starting all of its responsibilities and obligations to these companies, so they could also achieve whatever their projects are. But we are not there yet. We haven't completed the ratification of these transactions. I'm talking about the waivers yet, but I think we'll get there.
Finally, before you go, you recently visited GIHOC over agitations by the staff in relation to the fact that they suspect the company was on the verge of collapse. We are told the factory hasn't produced anything the whole of July. Do you have any latest information on the state of affairs at GIHOC and how you're dealing with that?
No, I don't have that information. The fact that nothing has been produced the whole of July, I don't have that information. Yeah, but yes, I went there. There were a few issues with the high level of employees and whether they were all properly. They really needed to be that level of employment, considering all that was going on, and there are some agitations here and there, but we managed to settle those things. I actually asked for some comprehensive report to be made to me. I haven't received that yet, but I haven't heard about any more agitations in the last few weeks. So I'm sure they are doing well.
Very well. We hope they are. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
You're very welcome.
That's Honorable Katie Hammond. He's Minister for Trade and Industry and MP for Adansia Squad. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll be back with more. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Bro, what's up? I beg, where the Total Energy service station day for here?
Still up here. Tornado. Charlie. I beg. Make I take picture with you first, then I go show you the Total station. Today, Instagram go cry. Hey! Oh, about the directions. Go forward small. You go meet a watch seller. Santan, the Total station is right after.
Thanks, bro. But now you know be Total. It be Total Energies. You the bab.
Tornado. You do all. Quiet.
The time is here, starting 24th July. Buy fuel or lubricants from any Total Energy service station and win free amazing prizes instantly. Promo is valid while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Total Energies, energizing your future.
Pay attention, all my Africans and African Americans in the diaspora, plus my white brothers and sisters. What if I told y'all the most trusted real estate company in Ghana, Sukasa, would like to take y'all on a nationwide tour, highlighting prime real estate and investment opportunities. Sukasa builds affordable luxury homes with 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. Come get the real value for your money, plus they have very convenient payment policies with 100% guaranteed cash back. This fully gated or Grandson communities include malls, cinemas, and all social amenities, plus 24-hour security. All you gotta do is sign up for the tour for a measly couple $1,000 and come see what could be yours in real life. The African dream is alive. Contact Sukasa on 030-296-0865 or 055-369-7886 at Sukasa GH on all social media platforms. Email info@sukasa.com.gh. The Sukasa experience is also bringing on board a bunch of other property developers, which means patrons get a variety of options to buy from. This is powered by Government of Ghana, Beyond the Return Secretariat, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Works and Housing, Diaspora Affairs, the Office of the President, British High Commission, and the UK Chamber of Commerce. Sukasa, building on trust.
When shopping for a dress, you say,
of course, the low burst line. A
little tight by the hips, covered sleeves, off shoulder, definitely.
But when buying anti-malarial drug, you say,
is it not malaria? Give me whatever is available.
Choose your malaria drugs the same way you choose your dress. Always ask for Coatem. It's also available in cherry-flavored dispersible tablets for children. Don't gamble with malaria. Choose right. Choose Coatem. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Malaria testing should be done before treatment. This advert is FDA approved.
Whether I'm passing by the food market, visiting the salon, or filling up my tank for a spontaneous adventure with old friends in a new city. When asked, cash or card, it's always card for me. I switched from cash to card for all my payments with MasterCard. Now I get to do what I enjoy with ease.
Switch from cash to card for all your payments with MasterCard. MasterCard, the secure and convenient way to pay.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. We've been busy with what's happening in the courts. We spoke to the Minister of Trade, Honorable Katie Hammond, a short while ago. Now, before then, we also told you the story about James Jachikwesin, and the judge presiding over his case has warned that she would make the Asin North MP continue and end the cross-examination of prosecution's first witness, that's Richard Techimensa, on Monday, if his lawyers are not present. Now, this is part of a number of decisions that have been taken. There was a request for an adjournment to the next to the end of the legal vacation. The Deputy AG, who was in court holding a brief of the Attorney General's Department, did not agree with that. The court agreed with the Deputy AG. The Honorable Alfred Chianyebua is the Deputy Attorney General. He's joined me on the line now for more on James Jachikwesin. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, my brother.
First of all, I do not understand this bit where the judge says she's going to make the MP cross-examine the prosecution witness himself. Is it the case that the lawyer has gone AWOL?
Thank you very much. Let me put this in the proper perspective. PW1, who happens to be our first witness, has been in the witness box since 12th of July 2022. So for over 1 year, 16 days, a simple cross-examination that the counsel for the accused person said was going to use 2 hours to do has taken us such a period. To the one who went to court, counsel for the accused had sent a letter to the effect that he was indisposed and had been given 3 days exclusivity. That exclusivity is dated 23rd yesterday. And we know that the courts will be going on vacation by the close of Monday, 31st of July. So I made a point that you can't have one witness being in the witness box on 3 different legal years. Because remember, July last year belonged to the previous year's legal year. Then we started last year's legal year. Then we want to take him to the 3rd legal year. I mean, it's not something reasonable. So the judge, in her wisdom, said, fine, she may want that cross-examination of the PW1 completed. For that matter, on Monday, we should be in court. Fortunately, on Monday, the accused person's counsel paid the excuse duty will have resumed work. And that's why the judge added that if counsel for the accused person does not show up, she may want the accused person himself conduct the examination.
Okay, now this means that whether or not the lawyer appears, the accused person will have to cross-examine the PW1.
Exactly.
Prosecution witness one. But
yeah,
why would you subject a person who is in court to do cross-examination when the person has paid a lawyer to do that for them, and they possibly don't have the legal prowess to cross-examine?
This is not the first time, my brother. You can check from the courts. It's done daily to either accused persons or parties in civil litigation. The judge may tell you, if your lawyer doesn't show up, I'll ask you to continue. It's not the first time. I've been saying this one has been in existence for a very long time. So the judge only just informed him about that decision of his. But Monday is 31st, and based on what we were told today by counsel for the accused person, he will be in court for us to continue hearing the matter.
The issue of adjournment and what I've seen in the court, usually there's a proposal from the lawyer after they go through their diary and they check with the prosecution and the date is agreed, which date is now communicated to the judge who then either accepts or asks for another date. There are times you hear a lawyer say, I have another case in another town, I will not be available on this day. Prosecution may say something similar, the judge may not be available. You agree on a date. How come this time around the proposal was made for the next legal year by the defense team and you opposed to that, which opposition was accepted by the court?
Yes, counsel at times agree on a date and subject to the convenience of the court, that date is taken by the court. But that doesn't mean that whatever agreement that both counsel agreed on, the judge is bound to take it. Now, in this particular case, counsel for the accused person suggested a date in either October or November. And I saw that suggestion as being very unreasonable in the circumstance that the PW has found himself in this particular case. That's the reason why I said no. It was my view that since we have one more day to end the legal year, we will have to take advantage of it.
So it must be on Monday.
That is the order the court made today.
I know that the High Court has given you the permission and said that the court will hear this Jachikwesin case on a daily basis. There are political ramifications to that because members of parliament on the NDC side have decided to not be in parliament any day he is invited to the court. This is hampering the work of government which has to go through parliament. You are not in parliament, but you are the government's prosecutor general as a deputy. How do you hope to get out of this political quagmire where you have challenges in executing governance in parliament, and yet you are prosecuting one single case? How important is James Jachikwesin's trial? For which reason everything must grind to a halt? And why must there be daily trial for him? And critics have said Nana Appiah-Mensah was arrested. He's been standing trial forever. Several other persons have been mentioned. People who even killed members of parliament allegedly are not having to have daily trials. Why is the state interested in trying James Jachikwesin on a daily basis, regardless of the consequence?
May I also ask a rhetorical question? Why not? Is Mr. Jachikwesin above other accused persons whose cases are also heard on daily basis? That's a key question. Is it the fact that if you are an MP and the court decides, which is another arm of government, that is going to hear your case on daily basis, the court should stop it? In any event, since that order was made, you can check over the last 2 months whether we've been to the court for hearing more than 2 times in a week. At best, we go to court once a week, because the judge has made it clear to all the parties that the fact that she had ordered that the case will be heard day to day, but doesn't mean that every day, because there may be other circumstances. For example, we were in court today. Counsel for the accused person brought a letter that is indisposed. We couldn't go on. We will go to court another time, the judge himself, or even from our side. So it doesn't mean that it's cast in stone and iron. It's something that is done in all the other courts, most of the other courts. Go to Tamale, and those who listen to me in Tamale, you may have some cases there that the judge, I know one of the courts, the judge has been hearing the matter from Monday to Friday, 5 days, every day. Why is that person not complaining? Is the person not a Ghanaian? The person also not contributing to the development of Ghana? I believe in equality before the law. I also believe that an MP must perform his duty considered. But that does not mean that if an MP is involved in a matter, he must be in a special dispensation different from the farmer. Because the farmer is also a citizen and a Ghanaian. He must also work.
Okay, but it still does not explain the other part. These cases you talk about, which are heard on daily basis, they do not affect the work of government in parliament. This particular one is. Are you not bothered?
It's a problem a bit if you have other members of parliament saying that they may want to follow their colleague to parliament at their court on each court date. If you want to go along that route, I think it's quite unfortunate because they also have their responsibility to discharge in parliament. They may want to solidarize with him, no problems with it, but that does not mean that if the court decides that the case should be heard on a specific date because that order has been made, we should not go on. It's a border, but we must also go on. One arm of government should not wait for the others. There must be a cooperation. The cooperation is that the court has given the indication that day to day, but it's not cast in stone.
When the NDC says what you are doing is persecution and not prosecution because the gentleman was re-elected, his people like him, and that you should drop what you're doing because you are simply persecuting NDC MPs in the House of Parliament, what would be your response to that?
I would say that argument is very weak. If you are saying that someone has won elections and because of that, he should be prosecuted for offense that he committed prior to his election, then you are opening the way for others to also commit crimes, go stand for elections, win, and then raise that one as an insurance flag. So as a developing country, we are developing our laws. We must make sure that if people commit crimes, they are taken through the due process. People should not use their position as insurance against prosecution. If you win elections and proud to the winner of that election, you've committed any crime, don't be expecting that because you've won, the state, regardless whichever party may be in power, should just discontinue the case. No.
The Attorney General's department is not new to making concessions and analyzing issues and deciding where to let go and where to prosecute. In fact, there is a law that gives you the power to drop a charge against a person without even explaining, the nollie prosequi. You've been begged by NDC MPs, including the High Court judge, to exercise that right. You have not. But the question that would arise is that why do you have to continue in that manner? Even if you don't have to drop the charges against him, you can make it lenient for him so that he can proceed to do his work in Parliament. You can also proceed to get your work done in Parliament, and then you can continue with the prosecution. Are you suggesting that nollie prosequi is off the table, this prosecution will continue?
Nollie prosequi is not something we've considered, unless maybe later we may want to consider it, because we not found the basis to enter nollie prosequi in this particular case. You spoke about begging. I've never heard any member of the NDC begging. It's about ordering. That's the difference. If your client is taking to court as a lawyer and realize that your client, you may want to take another step, whether to take advantage of a plea bargaining act or any other step. Is it by resort to ordering the state to don't do it, do it. If you don't do it, A, B, or C. No. So it's our opinion that if it becomes necessary for the attorney to activate his powers to enter nollie prosequi, it will be done, or to withdraw the charges. But as we speak now, looking at where we got into, the evidence that we have, we don't have any basis to enter NP in this particular case.
Very well. Before you go, I spoke to you recently about someone who was working with the now defunct Capital Bank, Emmanuel Atoesian. He was found guilty by the court, but there was a rule that the parties came under where he was supposed to make some payments to the state. It emerged that that payment was not done, and the state went back to the court and asked that he be jailed. Do you have a brief on the status of that case as we speak?
Yes. We were in court yesterday for the court to ascertain from whether he has paid the outstanding sum. Unfortunately, or fortunately for him and unfortunately for us, the judge did not sit yesterday. For that matter, the case has been adjourned to the 12th of October.
Very well. We'll wait to see what happens then. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
You're welcome, my brother.
That's Honorable Alfred Tuanyeboa. He's a deputy at the Attorney General's Department. So he's a Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka, in Accra. We are also live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations and across the globe on Citi Newsroom gmail.com. We'll come back from this break and talk about an assault case in Wa and the decision of the court on the student involved.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Bro, what's up? I beg, where the Total Energy service station day for here?
Steven Apia, Tornado, Charlie, I beg. Make I take picture with you first, then I go show you the Total station. Today, Instagram go cry. Hey, oh, about the directions. Go forward small. You go meet a watch seller, Santan. The Total station is right after.
Thanks, bro. But now you know be Total. It be Total Energies. You the bab.
Tornado, you do all. Quiet.
The time is here, starting 24th July. Buy fuel or lubricants from any Total Energy service station and win free amazing prizes instantly. Promo is valid while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Total Energies, energizing your future.
Whether I'm passing by the food market, visiting the salon, or filling up my tank for a spontaneous adventure with old friends in a new city, when asked, cash or card, it's always card for me. I switched from cash to card for all my payments with MasterCard. Now I get to do what I enjoy with ease.
Switch from cash to card for all your payments with MasterCard. MasterCard, the secure and convenient way to pay.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. The Wa Magistrates Court has convicted a final year student of the Wa Technical School to a fine of 2,000 Ghana cedis for physically assaulting a housemaster of the school, Ishmael Musa Froko. The fine is to help cater for the cost of treatment of the teacher. The student, Yusuf Mudayir, was convicted on his own plea after the court presided over by Maxwell McBrown Tirigu found him guilty of the crime. The court also directed that a student should sign a bond of a good behavior for 1 year or in default be imprisoned for the same period. A second accused person, Salifu Razak, in relation to the assault on the teacher, failed to appear before the court, while Christian Kessie has been discharged after investigations revealed his innocence in the crime.
This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Let's bring you a story that the Citi Newsroom has been following for some time now. It has to do with the death of a 14-year-old British national, a student who allegedly died under mysterious circumstances at the St. Peter's Mission School at Ogbojo in Accra. We're told that the student fell off the 4th floor of the school and died as a result. Let's hear from the grandmother of this particular boy who has been speaking to Citi News. Let's listen to what she said before we return.
When the school headmaster picked me up to tell me the whole story, initially he told me that a food I brought to the school that day before it seems to be drugged. So that caused my son to feel giddy and fall off. My grandson to feel giddy and fall off. Secondly, the doctors at Legon, they made me understand that the teachers who brought my dead grandson at 12:15 midnight said I was in intensive care on admission. I'm standing here. There was nothing wrong with me. They never phoned me. They told the doctor that they have brought my dead son because I am in intensive care in admission. A pack of lies. A pack of lies. And they said the food I brought to the school the day before, 15th of May, seems to be drugged. And that caused my grandson to feel giddy and drop off from the 4th floor. No broken bones, no broken arms, no broken legs, nothing, even not a head crash. A standard board has proved that there was no drug in my grandson's body. No common alcohol? No alcohol. Yes. And the thing is, the director of the school said, My grandson, he came on TV and said my grandson was dealing in drugs at 14. And then when the people who supplied the drug came to collect their money, because he had spent the money, he was jumping through 4th floor window to fall down. The injuries does not match the cock and bull story the school proprietor was telling me.
That's a grandmother of a boy who fell off the 4th floor of St. Peter's Mission School at Ogbojo in Accra. Let's speak to the family head now, Nikwe Ashali. Ni, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. Grandma just described the story as a cock and bull story. Is it that you don't believe the narration as given to you by the school, or you believe that until you saw the autopsy report?
Initially, after visiting the site of the incident and the story that he said, then we realized it was a cock and bull story indeed. There was no correlation between what said and what we saw. So we started doubting it right from the inception, that there was something wrong.
What did you find which was alarming to you or raised eyebrows?
Okay. In fact, when we got to the Medina police station, because that was the first point of contact, and the crime officer and everything decided that we should go to the site to visit. In fact, from what they told us from the police station, we decided we want to go. When we went, we met the proprietor who was waiting for us to take us round. So he did. In fact, he took us upstairs to the 4th floor where the police had already told us that our grandson and our son fell from that floor. So when we went into the room, he led us to inspect the place. And he told us about the window that was being rehabilitated or being refurbished. So I took the opportunity to remove my phone and I took pictures of it. And I saw that the metal thing that was done to protect anybody from going through the window and falling down was an old thing. It was still there. In fact, the screws that was holding that window are still old and rusty. But we saw that there were new ones that have been created. And unfortunately, the nails that were planted in had the dust, which shows the machine that did the drilling. So we saw that, why do we still have the old nails and there were new ones? And so we doubted it, that they were never doing any refurbishment or whatever. And in the presence of the police, there was a district commander, there was a crime officer, and everything. And I told them that, why was the place not condoned? Because there has been a problem. Somebody had died with the idea that he was on drugs and he had climbed upstairs where the masters who were taking care of them were, and they found out that he was really intoxicated on drugs. They fetched water, they bathed him, and they put him in bed, and he went to sleep. And they went downstairs to investigate what had happened. When they came back, our son and grandson had jumped through the window and had fallen down from the 4th floor downstairs. So we went round, took pictures about the dormitories, which was so inhabitable according to human standards, and they took us to the back to see where he fell. Now, this is a 14-year-old boy who is 6'2". Today that will even put him in the coffin. He was taller than a 6'2" that we thought. Could have fallen from a 4th floor, and the area that showed us that he fell was less than, I would assume, 2 feet. We never saw any blood that has kind of, normally when somebody dies...
Blood stains. You're talking about blood stains on the floor.
The blood stains. And normally you would have seen the flow of the blood. Hello?
You did not see that. Now, let me ask this quick question. Are you saying that the school authorities were negligent, as in they did what they should not have done, or you are suspecting your ward died as a result of something else and not falling off the fourth floor?
First of all, our grandson and son never fell from any fourth floor. So I'm trying to narrate the things that I saw, which does not add up to what the proprietor of the school told us. Okay? Because the blood that was there could not be even a pint of a canned milk. Looking at the height. Now, the pictures that we had from the Legon Hospital, okay, they took around there 12 midnight. And the doctor said that when the person died out of the hospital, there was a need to draw the attention of the police, or else we would not allow the body to take into the police hospital. Now, those who took our son and grandson to the hospital said that the grandmother has been hospitalized and it was on drips, which was not true. They never called us if really our grandson fell from the fourth floor immediately. And there was no way they could have resuscitated him from that great fall. So when my senior sister, the grandma, went to the hospital, we took pictures. And the boy was so intact. His bones, his body was as fresh as a newborn baby. The only thing we saw was that there was a hit on his neck. He has lost all his teeth. And beneath his armpit, there were big cuts under one arm, which is the right-hand side. So if somebody has fallen from a 4-story building, we were expecting that he would have broken down in pieces. We have the pictures that we produce. So it meant that our grandson was taken out of the school. He was murdered outside the school. They brought him back when everybody was asleep and just took him to the spot. Either they had the blood and they spread a piece of it around the place. And so we have to report, because the British is a product. Our son is a British boy. We went to the British embassy. They advised that we should go to the police hospital and report.
Okay.
So
now,
the homicide...
This narration you've just given about the boy you suspect was taken out, killed, and returned, you suspect this was done by criminals outside the school, or you think the school is complicit in this? Because we have called the school, and the school has not granted us an interview. The school says the police is doing an investigation. Who do you suspect may have done this, carry out, kill, and return?
Well, you see, analytically, if a school is a boarding house and it's got the security and everything, definitely the boy cannot get out of the premises of the school. He's in the custody of the authorities of the school. Now, from what we saw and what they narrated having fallen from the 4th floor, and where he fell, and the quantum of blood that was there, clearly was an indication that the idea of what transpired. And we are also waiting and depending on the homicide to tell us. But what they allege, that the boy was on drugs. Because of that, during the autopsy, the internal part was taken to the standard board. The report that came out was that he never took any drugs and was never poisoned. That means that what the school authorities told us, he was high on drugs, and he met his teachers or the hall master upstairs on the 4th floor, that they bathed him with cool water and put him to sleep. It's all a lie. The window that it was set, it was under fabrication or renovation, was also a lie. The drug that they said that it might have been the cause was also a lie by report. So without all those things.
I've seen the pictures. Do you know if your son had any members or group that he belonged to which may have engaged in? Because what I'm looking at looks like his body was mutilated. It doesn't look like a fall to me, but of course experts will decide. Do you know if he belonged to any group? Is there any possibility?
That is what the proprietor alleged. Now, if he's the custodian of the school and he's trying to portray the impression that drugs are being sold in his school, that is detrimental to his reputation of the school where we have kids starting from primary school, GSS and SHS. He's alleging that we pay over 16,000 cedis to bring our kids to his school with all the security and the war, to say that our son is a drug dealer in the school. Is that what he's saying? If our son is a drug dealer in the school and he smokes drugs, whose responsibility is that? He has been there for a couple of months and years. Is he saying that is what is transpiring in his school? That kids are brought and paid so much money and they have a cartel who deals in drugs and that the boy was on drugs? Now, the report shows that he has never taken any drugs.
Okay.
Now, is he trying to say that because he deals in drugs, the cartel came and picked it up from his school and killed him outside?
I'm really sorry about this. Please accept our condolences and thank you for speaking to us.
Yes. So we are happy the stations are involved. They started to say, now is our time, having gotten all the reports, we want to prove. And we will go along.
Okay. Wish you all the best. We wish you all the best in your quest to find justice. And thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
That's Ninikwe Ashali. He's a head of the family that lost a child, a 14-year-old boy, a British national, who was schooling at St. Peter's Mission School at Ogbojo in Accra. The report earlier was that the boy fell from the 4th floor of the school. Now, pictures that have been shared with us by the family, and which pictures are the reason that the family is making the case they are making, is that it could not have been a fall, but some other form of death, and they are asking for some answers to be given them by the appropriate authorities. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll be back with more.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, powered by citibusinessnews.com. My name is Akosia Oche. Let's settle for the details. The independent power producers, IPPs, are facing an imminent crisis, pushing them to consider shutting down their power plants if the government doesn't settle their debt exceeding 2 billion cedis. Earlier, the IPPs refrained from shutting down after discussions with the Electricity Company of Ghana. However, the agreement seemed to have been breached, leaving the IPPs disappointed. The severity of the situation reached a critical point, with the National Petroleum Corporation, that is GNPC, unable to pay for gas transportation due to outstanding ECG payments. The looming shutting down of the West Africa Gas Pipeline Company further adds to concerns over a potential power crisis. Away from that, the chairman of the Trade and Industry Committee of Parliament has expressed worry over the inability of the House to work on tax exemptions for one district, one factory firms in the country. The committee bemoans that the Finance Committee had the referrals of tax exemptions since 2021, but has failed to present its report for consideration of Parliament. Away from that, economist Courage Buti has expressed concern over tightening credit conditions, adding that they make it increasingly challenging for both businesses and consumers to borrow. He fears that the situation could lead to restricted investment and consumer spending. Speaking to Citi Business News, Courage Buti highlights the significant impact of these factors on the economic landscape.
The fiscal side has been slack all this while, and probably we need a lot more from that side to rein in inflation, really. And that is why I raised the question, without DDP savings, where would have the consolidation come from? And going forward, if revenue will continue to lag like it's lagging, then we must begin to see some actual real expenditure control measures, in the form of cutting back on some allocations to MDAs and other institutions and stuff like that to be able to keep the fiscal targets in check. If the monetary tools are working and the fiscal policy tools are also working as envisaged under the program, we should bring down inflation faster and then stimulate growth through the credit channel.
That was an economist, Courage Buti. Now, a fiscal policy analyst, Dr. Alex Mpabing, has reiterated calls for government to firmly establish expenditure cuts as it grapples to meet its revenue targets. According to him, it has become imperative for government to close the gaps between its income and expenditure as it will overcome the current economic tensions. Yes, fiscal policy analyst, Dr. Alex Mpabing.
Expectations for the budget. The first thing I expect is that we don't need a new tax. We do not expect any new tax at all in this very current situation we are in, because the question is which angle, which sector, which tax handle can we introduce at this time? But one thing we expect to see is a broader than the revenues. How far those commitments that we have made, those lines that I showed you in the beginning, how close are we from those lines in terms of bridging the fiscal gap? We also would like to see details on the extractive sector reforms. I think that the message is more around curbing illicit financial flows, but the specifics, perhaps it would be good to have the details on. It would be good to also see realistic expenditure cuts, because it's very unlikely that government will be able to meet those revenue targets. So I think it would be good for government to go back to the drawing board, assess government in totality, and see which areas can we realistically put the cuts on to balance the books. Also, the flagship programs. Now, which one is going? Which one is staying? How are we financing them? Because the clarity, I believe, at this time is very, very important.
That was fiscal policy analyst Dr. Alex Mpabing. Now, a banking consultant, Dr. Richmond Ituahene, says a call by the Bank of Ghana to banks in the country to increase their investments in technology is not feasible due to the current financial constraints the sector is facing. The central bank is urging banks and all financial services to increase their investments in technology to tackle the rising fraud cases in the sector. This is to ensure that the technology gap between bankers and some customers is bridged in order to address the menace. Reacting to the news, however, Dr. Richmond Ituahene said this might not be possible as the financial sector is still suffering from the shocks of the domestic debt exchange.
The call itself is not bad. It's a very good idea, because that is where technology is, where the banking is going to go. But the caveat is after the GDP, the deposit there cannot be used to buy equipment. It is the shareholders who bring in the money for us to redeploy in technology. So the call is fantastic, but it, especially with the domestic bank, it hasn't been made at appropriate time. If you ask those who invest in FlexCube or Globus, they will tell you they are very expensive, because you see, when they talk like that, it makes you think that they don't even know what they're talking about. Because after the DDEP, most banks has no capital. So where are they going to get money to invest in technology? The statement should not have been made at this moment in time, when banks with cocoa bills are going to suffer again. And those who even suffered hasn't suffered finally, you see. And when Bank of Ghana required all the banks to bring their capital requirements, as the governor said, and then you say, invest in capital, invest in technology. And the technologies are very expensive. If you invest in, say, FlexCube, which I'm very conversant with, the time we signed on FlexCube, it was about $2 million. And even if they structure you for $500,000 every year, it's not going to be easy.
Dr. Richmond Ituahene is a banking consultant. Well, that's how we close the curtains on City Business News on Eyewitness News. It was powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Akosia Oche. Up next is Point Blank.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Hello, Auntie Araba. Hey, Bugger, how are you doing today? I want to buy Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, but I don't have enough money. So what are you going to do? Can you give me the big size? You know, as for me, I'll pay the balance later. Today, no credit. I haven't sold much this morning. If you don't have enough money for the big size, why don't you try the 120-gram pack? There's a 120-gram pack? Introducing the new Pepsodent Cavity Fighter in 120-gram pack size. More affordable and convenient. Get yours today from any supermarket near you. Every smile matters. This advert is FDA approved.
This is a bank, First Atlantic Bank. A shiny purple star to brighten up my day. First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different services all day long. First Atlantic Bank, and it feels so cool. I know this is where I belong. This is a bank like no other. First Atlantic Bank. Follow me, let's go now. Let's go. Let's bank. This is a bank like no other. Let's bank. This is a bank like no other. First Atlantic Bank.
First Atlantic Bank. Refreshingly different.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness
News. Be there as it happens.
We're talking about National Development Conference. It's a conference that was held in the Central Region, the Pentecost Convention Center. It saw many people, especially important people, attended. It's a conference that started from the 26th of July to the 27th of July. It told over 2,000 stakeholders drawn from a broad spectrum of the society, religious groups, traditional authorities, political parties, media, professional bodies, civil society organizations, the clergy, etc., met at the Pentecost Convention Center at Gomua Fete. And this was under the auspices of the Church of Pentecost to develop the first ever moral vision plan to inform Ghana's development agenda between the 2 days I've mentioned to you. So tonight we're going to talk about the outcome of that particular conference. And signed by Apostle Eric Kwabna Nyamiche. He is the chairman of the Church of Pentecost and president of the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council of Churches. So let's speak to the memorandum now. To Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much.
I see you have issued a 10-point memorandum after communique after the 2-day conference. Before we talk about that, explain to us why you thought that we should converge on a center to look at our national development through the issue of morality. Explain what the church intended to do.
Thank you very much. Good evening once again. Yeah, we have, as a church, a 5-year vision that possessing the nation, where we decided to teach our members so that we will let what we teach in church reflect in our communities. So we are trying to let the kingdom values and principles of God be taught in the society. So last year we organized the first one for royals. So we gathered about 2,000 royals with about 80 of them being paramount to teach kingdom principles. And then later we set a platform to engage all ministers from various denominations, about 4,000 of them coming from about 480 different churches. So this year, being the last final lap of the 5-year vision, we decided to engage key stakeholders so that we can think about what things we have lost as far as our morals and principles are concerned. So this engagement had to do with talking about moral vision. That is what leaders ought to place value on, and what things, ethics, morality, values, principles, integrity, things that are virtues which we seem to have lost. You bear with me that these days people do things anyhow. When we're young, it was difficult for you to see a young man insulting an elderly. People don't value principles. We go to work late. Corruption is all over the place. From bottom up, nobody cares. Everybody is doing things now. So we thought the church could set a stage where we can bring more stakeholders to think about values. So basically, that's what informed the church to engage in that.
I see. You had former President Kufuor, former President Mahama, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, and a number of other ministers of state, members of parliament, politicians, religious leaders, and all of that. So at the end of the day, 2 days, what did you come out with?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's good you are mentioning all these our fathers and key leaders in the nation. When we dreamt, we engaged them, and all of them bought into it. Yeah, yes, something is missing, which we have to engage. So they were all supported what we're going to do. They spoke into it, so we came out with some topics that we engaged. So the speakers were given specific topics to handle. And out of their presentation, after that, there were engagements, breakout sessions, workshops. So participants coming from all different backgrounds and status in the society came out with their reflections on what they have heard, and then they made some observations, and we put them together as the community which want to go again and discuss with all those we consulted and come out with this so that we'll be able to roll it together. Let me state, you said a communique that has been signed. It's a draft. Unfortunately, is yet to sign. It's a reflection of what we want to do. So by Monday, you come to the office and sign the final one. So what we have is a draft which the stakeholders, the participants, we all agree that these things are what we are missing. This is the way to go if we really want to develop our nation.
For people who are listening to us, who did not know what the outcome was, this communique that you are, the draft communique, someone listening to us in Tumu, for instance, they want to know this 10-point communique. Would you want to summarize for us the key takeaways for you, which you would be adopting formally and presenting on Monday?
Yeah, thank you very much. See, we observe a lot of things are not right in the system. So to summarize it, we observe that especially the faith-based organizations, traditional authorities, media, and other youth, we've been making noise about fighting against corruption, but we think our voices have not been high enough. It will not be audible enough to speak against the corruption, impunity, and injustice in the society. So we observe that we urgently need leaders and citizens to have moral consciousness as far as our development agenda is concerned. Following that, we think there is a need, as it were, to come out with a National Moral Integrity Council. This is a recommendation which will have to lead us begin a process of restoring the generations of decay and moral decadence in our nation. We are also trying to push and say that we put a mechanism in place to eschew all forms of what is the next for me syndrome, the bribery and corruption, where you scratch my back, I scratch your back. And we want to come out strongly to do a campaign, rigorous campaign, national integrity campaign, to sharpen the moral consciousness of Ghanaians. Doing this, we're going to really team up with NCC, SHRAG. In this draft one, we put in place an implementation committee. And on that committee, we have NCC, the boss is a member of it. We have one of the commissioners from SHRAG. So we want to have a multi-sectoral team to facilitate these things so that we'll be able to push the things we think we have to do right. And also we want to encourage the religious leaders to teach our members such that what we teach in our Bibles, from the Bibles and our churches and mosques will reflect in the society. We have about 90% of us being godly, representing various faiths. And we think what we teach them, if they bring it out, Ghana wouldn't be where we are. We'll be able to live right and push our development agenda. The urgent development and implementation of a national moral orientation program will also be rolled out. We are proposing that educational curricula ought to be, we have to fuse morality in it. But then you observe that no political party has a chapter on morality and virtue. It's promises on what we want to do. But the people who want to do the things for them don't have moral vision, it will be difficult to be able to push your development agenda. Let me take this one. Patriotism must be at the heart of all private and public organization engagement. It must receive attention in everything we do, educational, professional, vocational institutions, and everything. So all we want to do is we want to have a moral vision, virtues, integrity, honesty, transparency, justice, fairness, equity is what we want to do after this. So when we release this panel, we hope to have a media engagement and then put structures in place. We are praying that God will help us that we'll put our shoulders on the wheel and make sure we restore our moral values back to the system.
Are you not trying to legislate morality? Can you make a law that binds on people's morality? Who really can make that determination and find someone guilty? How do you really intend to make that work?
We are not going to legislate. But if you look at the people who met. We are the movers and shakers of our community. If you have all these people there, the family heads are there. So if the chiefs are doing their bit, the parents are doing their bit, religious leaders come on board, politicians come on board, the media. It's going to be education, not legislation. You see, like as a church, we 5 years, since the last 5 years, every year we've been doing clean-up campaign. We want to instill in our people cleanliness to godliness. And then these tree planting. So we've been doing these things. It's a matter of educating the people. You see, when we're kids, we're taught this, we're using kettle for boys and girls to teach us. It's a matter of teaching the people, creating the awareness, reorienting ourselves, and knowing what is right and what is wrong. That's all.
I'm going to read for you the observations you made. There are 2 points that jump at me, and I want you to clarify them. The observation 1, you said that the moral character of the nation has dipped, as evidenced in the increasingly inefficient leadership at all levels, such as family, chieftaincy, religious, politics or political, etc., degradation of the environment, lack of integrity, disrespect in public discourse, corruption, lack of patriotism and volunteerism in Ghana. Do you mind elaborating on that, sir?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, that's point 1 observation made by the over 2,000 participants. We did engagement and we realized that the like parenting, the family values that we all cherish. Now we have a lot of irresponsible adults in the system. Excuse my language, sorry, listeners. Parents don't have time for their kids. They don't really teach them values as far as respect is concerned. So we have done like if each leader, the family heads, parents, chiefs. My brother, let's talk about galamsey. Is galamsey not happening in various jurisdictions where we have chiefs there? Don't have udikros and opinion leaders. Where we're kids, somebody, if the chief calls, ask the Gongon Bita to give the gong, we all rally. So what we are saying is, if all these actors, the family heads, the chiefs, the religious leaders, the political leaders, anybody who is a leader is prepared to do his or her bit, will be able to restore some of these things that we are losing. That's what we are trying to say. And patriotism, now nobody loves the country. Everybody is doing whatever the person wants, as far as he gets what he wants. For instance, we are being told care is not taken. It's not later we are going to import water. Are we waiting to that point where we're going to import water? We say no. Opinion leaders must rise up and engage our people.
Well, there's a general critique of the church that the church is quiet because of the government or the party that is in office. Do you, as a church, speak to the political leadership especially, and do they take your advice? Because there are many who think that if you stood up, the economic challenges we're witnessing, for instance, may have been averted. What do you say to that?
Right, thank you very much. Let me say that this is not a political issue. This is about Ghana. Sometimes people think we don't speak enough. It depends on the leadership style that we have been using these days, some of us. But I can speak for myself and my church. But sometimes it's not everything I have to jump to the public. You have to judge, or you have to discuss, you have to engage, and then be able to roll out. Did you observe that they were all there? And have you asked yourself why all these people were able to come? My brother, we did not send letters just inviting our fathers. All those you saw there, we went to them. This is what we think, or the Lord has laid on our hearts to do. Our fathers, what do you say about it? We went to His Excellency the President, we discussed our concern, we brought into the vision. We met the Speaker of Parliament, we went to former President Mahama, went to former President Kufuor, we met the National Executive Committee of NDC, National Executive Committee of MPP, with Ghana Bar Association. We went to meet the Chief Justice, we went to meet the NCCE boss. So we engage. This is apolitical. What we want to do, it's not like a particular government is in place, that's why we are not talking. We are talking to all these people, and that's how we want to go. And the bottom towards, yes, we support you. Let's do it and see what God will do for us. So we are not doing it for Party A or Party B. We are doing it for Mother Ghana. If you observe, there was no party color during the program. It was the only Ghana flag we wanted to see. Now we want to push the development of our nation devoid of partisan politics. That's where the case stands.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, and we do pray that your prayer gets answered.
Thank you very much. So by Monday, Tuesday, you hear from us to invite the media houses for an official engagement where we'll present the signed one, and then we'll pick it from there. Thank you very much.
We look forward to that. Thank you so much. That's Apostle Komi. He's the General Secretary of the Church of Pentecost. That's how we end tonight's edition of Eyewitness News. My name is Umaru Sanda Amado. I did this with Akosua Otre. Production tonight by Kobna Wilson. Technical support from Daniel Squashi. New media support from Edwin Kwakofi. Eyewitness News is back on Monday at 17:30 GMT. If you want more news, analysis, and current affairs discussions, the big issue tomorrow at 9 o'clock on Citi TV and Citi FM is the show you should look out for, hosted by Selom Kojo Adonu Esquire. Up next, though, is a Citi sports team ready to give you sports panorama. Have a good night and have a great weekend.